Ladies and gentlemen, the grand exit, the one they never saw coming, the plot twist that sent their carefully crafted narrative crumbling into chaos. You, the one they thought they had figured out, flipped the script in a way that left them stunned, gasping for control. They thought they had you figured out. They believed they understood your every move, your every intention. They thought they knew your limits, your patience, your boundaries. But what they didn't know, what they could never have anticipated, was that the moment they took you for granted was the moment they lost everything. They didn't know it was their last chance, the last chance they had with you before they lost you forever. They never saw it coming. No one did. Because we live in a world where people think they have all the time in the world, where everyone thinks that nothing ever truly ends. They took their moments with you for granted, acting like they could always come back, always have you by their side, always manipulate you, always bend you to their will. They treated you like you were infinite, like you would never run out of patience, like you would never tire of their games, their false promises, their empty words. They were wrong. They were tragically wrong. They didn't know it was their last chance. They didn't know that the moment you realized your worth was the moment they lost you forever. For too long, you endured their half-hearted efforts. You tolerated their indifference, their inconsistency, their lies. You bent over backward, time and time again, to meet them halfway. You compromised your own peace for the sake of their comfort. You gave them chance after chance, even when you knew deep down that they were never going to change. You wanted to believe in them, in the idea of them, in the illusion of a future together. But the truth was always right in front of you, hiding in plain sight. They were never going to give you what you needed, what you deserved. They were never going to appreciate you the way you needed them to. And the moment you realized that truth was the moment you knew it was time to let go. They thought they had forever. They thought they could push you, and then you would always come back, always forgive, always forget. They didn't realize that everyone has a breaking point. Everyone has a moment when they finally see things for what they truly are. They didn't know that your silence, your distance, your withdrawal was the beginning of the end. They didn't know that it was the final warning, the last opportunity they would ever have to make things right. But by the time they noticed, it was too late. You were already gone, already moving on, already walking away from a place that had once felt like home. They thought they had time. They thought they could push you further, test your limits just a little longer, take you for granted just one more time. But time doesn't wait for anyone. Time doesn't give second chances. Time doesn't care about their excuses, their apologies, or their regrets. Time is relentless, unforgiving, and it doesn't pause for anyone's convenience. They didn't know that every moment they wasted, every second they spent playing their games, was a second they could never get back. And in the end, it wasn't just your time they lost, it was your trust, your loyalty, your love, your essence. And when they look back, they'll realize the truth. They didn't know it was their last chance. They didn't know they were losing you forever. For too long, you sacrificed yourself for them. You gave everything you had, holding on to the hope that things would change, that they would see you, truly see you for who you are. But the truth is, they never did. They never cared enough to. They took and took, never giving back, always expecting more without ever offering anything in return. They drained you, left you empty, left you questioning your own worth, all while they walked away, unscathed, convinced that you would always be there waiting for them. But in the end, it wasn't your love they lost. It was your respect, your dignity, your power. You gave them every chance, but in the end, you had to make a choice. You had to choose yourself. You had to choose your peace, your happiness, your future over their lies, their games, their manipulation. You had to recognize that you deserve more than the scraps they were willing to give. You had to let go of the idea that things would change, that they would suddenly wake up and realize your worth. Because sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is let go of someone who will never be able to meet you halfway. They didn't know it was their last chance, but you did. You knew the moment had come. You knew it was time to walk away, to stop giving, to stop hoping, to stop waiting. You knew it was time to let go of the idea of what could have been and embrace the reality of what was. And now, they'll have to live with the consequences of their choices. They'll have to live with the fact that they didn't recognize your value until it was too late. They'll have to live with the regret, the guilt, the longing for what they once had, but can never have again. They'll have to carry the weight of their mistakes, the knowledge that they pushed you away, that they squandered the opportunity to have you in their lives. They'll have to live with the emptiness that comes when someone who once meant everything to them is no longer there. And the worst part is that they'll never know when it truly ended. They'll never know the exact moment they lost you. All they'll know is that one day you were there, and the next you were gone. But you will move forward. You will rise from the ashes of your past, stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. You will learn from the pain, the heartbreak, and the betrayal, and you will use it to fuel your growth, your success, your journey. You will never again settle for less than you deserve. You will never again allow someone to take you for granted, to waste your time, to use you for their own convenience. You will never again allow yourself to be treated as anything less than a priority. Because now, you know your worth. You know what you bring to the table. You know that you deserve better, and you will never again accept anything less. They didn't know it was their last chance. They didn't know they were about to lose you forever. But now you know, and you will never forget it. You will carry that knowledge with you, always. You will walk with your head held high, knowing that you made the choice to let go, to walk away, to stop waiting for something that was never meant to be. And as you move forward, remember this: you are not defined by the people who failed to see your worth. You are defined by the strength it took to walk away, to let go, and to move on. And that, my friends, is the most powerful thing you can do. In the end, they will regret it. They will regret not seeing the value you brought to their lives. They will regret not appreciating you when they had the chance. But by then, it won't matter. You will have moved on. You will have healed. You will have become the person you were always meant to be. And they will be left to pick up the pieces of a life that was once filled with your presence, but is now empty without you. They didn't know it was their last chance, but you did. And that is what will make all the difference. Because in the end, it's not the people who leave who shape our future, but rather, it's the ones who are left standing, the ones who choose to walk away, the ones who finally find the courage to close doors that were never meant to be opened. Those are the people who know their worth, who understand that sometimes the best thing they can do for themselves is to take the most difficult but necessary step of all, walking away from the people who took them for granted. They didn't know it was their last chance. They didn't know the time they had with you was limited, that their moments with you were fleeting, precious, and irreplaceable. But you always knew. You knew the time was running out, even when they didn't. You felt it in your soul, in every fiber of your being. Deep down, you knew that the signs were there, that you had given them everything you could, that you had offered them more chances than anyone ever should, and yet, they were still blind to it. They couldn't see the treasure they had in front of them, and the worst part was, they didn't even care. How often do we stay in situations that drain us, that slowly rob us of our energy, our enthusiasm, and our hope? How many times do we give people the benefit of the doubt, allowing them to treat us as though we were disposable, like we were a backup option? Always waiting in the wings for when they were ready to show up. We stay because we want to believe that they'll change, that they'll come around, that somehow they'll see what they have in front of them. But the truth is, the longer we stay in these situations, the more we lose ourselves. The more we give, the less we have left to give. And eventually, there comes a breaking point, a moment when we realize we can't keep doing this anymore. We can't keep pouring into a cup that is always empty. We can't keep offering ourselves to someone who will never value us the way we deserve. And that's when the truth hits. That's when the moment of clarity comes crashing down like a wave. When we realize that the last chance was never really theirs, it was always ours. It was always up to us to recognize the signs, to see that we deserved more, and to finally stop settling for anything less. It was up to us to be the ones who recognized that the time had come to walk away. They didn't know they were on the brink of losing us forever because they never thought it was possible. They never thought that someone who loved them so deeply, so unconditionally, could just disappear. But you knew. You knew that you couldn't keep losing yourself for someone who never really cared. You knew that the only way to preserve your peace, your dignity, and your future was to walk away, no matter how difficult it seemed. And in doing so, you took back your power. You reclaimed the life that was always yours, but had been taken from you, bit by bit. It's easy to feel guilty in these moments, isn't it? We feel guilty for walking away, for choosing ourselves over someone who might have needed us. We wonder if we made the right choice. We question ourselves, thinking that perhaps we were too hasty, that we should have tried harder, that maybe we could have done something different. But the truth is, there is nothing more powerful than choosing yourself when everyone else has chosen to take you for granted. There is nothing more empowering than recognizing that your own happiness, your own well-being, and your own future matter more than the empty promises of someone who has never truly shown up for you. There is no shame in letting go of what was never meant to be. There is no regret in walking away from something that was only ever going to hold you back. The moment you choose to walk away is the moment you begin to heal. It's the moment you finally free yourself from the chains of self-doubt and insecurity that were holding you back. It's the moment you stop asking for validation from people who will never give it to you, and you start validating yourself. You stop waiting for someone else to see your worth because you already know it. You stop sacrificing your peace for the sake of someone who will never give you the love and respect you deserve. And in that moment, you realize something. You are enough. You are worthy of so much more than what they were willing to give you. And the moment you accept that, you open the door to a future that is full of possibilities, full of people who will appreciate you, full of opportunities that will allow you to flourish in ways you never imagined. They didn't know it was their last chance, but you did. And that's what makes all the difference. You knew that if you didn't take control of your life, if you didn't make the choice to let go, you would remain stuck in a cycle that would drain you dry. You knew that you couldn't keep allowing them to define your worth, to set the terms of your happiness. You knew that you were worthy of someone who would show up for you, who would appreciate you, who would never take you for granted. And so you walked away. You took the hardest step, but it was the one that would ultimately set you free. And now, as you stand in the aftermath, you realize something powerful. You are stronger than you ever knew. You have walked through the fire, and you have come out on the other side, scarred but unbroken. You have faced your fears, confronted your doubts, and made the choice to walk away from what was never meant for you. And in doing so, You have reclaimed your power, your peace, and your future. They will regret it. They will regret not seeing your value when they had the chance. They will regret not recognizing the treasure that was in front of them. But by then, it won't matter, because you won't be there anymore. You will have moved on, and they will be left to watch from a distance, wondering what went wrong, wondering how they could have done things differently. They will spend the rest of their lives wondering if there was more they could have done, if they could have been better, if they could have appreciated you more. But by then, it won't matter, because you won't be waiting for their regrets. You will be living your life, stepping into your future, creating the life you deserve without them. The hardest part about walking away is knowing that you may never get the closure you crave. You may never hear the apology you deserve. You may never get the answers you've been searching for. But the truth is, you don't need them. You don't need closure from someone who never truly understood you. You don't need answers from someone who took you for granted. The only closure you need is the one you give yourself. The only answers you need are the ones you find within yourself. And the answer is simple. You are enough. You are worthy of so much more than what they could ever offer. And now, you are free to go out and claim the life that is waiting for you. In the end, the ones who took you for granted will never truly understand what they lost until it's too late. They will never understand that the last chance they had with you was the moment you chose to walk away. But by then, it won't matter, because you will have moved on. You will have grown. You will have found happiness and peace in a way that they could never offer. You will have built a life that is centered around your own happiness, your own growth, and your own dreams. And that is the greatest victory of all. They didn't know it was their last chance, but you did. And that's what will make all the difference, because you will never again settle for anything less than what you deserve. And in doing so, you will create the life that was always meant for you. The moment you let go of the people, the situations, the false hopes that had been holding you back, you start to realize something profound. You were never meant to settle for anything less than greatness. You were never meant to hide yourself, to shrink back, to allow your potential to remain dormant while others took advantage of your kindness, your loyalty, your energy. You were always meant to rise, to step into your own power, to take control of your narrative and move toward the life that you deserve. The life that was always meant for you isn't one that revolves around waiting for others to notice your worth. It's not one where you are left to fill the void of others' neglect or indifference. It is a life built on the foundation of self-respect, self-love, and the courage to move forward when the world wants you to stay stuck. You see, you are not just a passive character in your own story. You are the author, the architect of your own destiny. The choices you make, the strength you summon to push forward, are what will shape your future. And every time you choose yourself, every time you step away from the toxicity, the uncertainty, the people who don't see your value, you get closer and closer to the life that was always meant for you. It's easy to forget that life is not something that happens to us. It's something we create. We get so caught up in the narrative that others write for us, in the roles they try to force us into, that we forget we have the power to rewrite that story. Every step you take away from those who took you for granted is a step toward a life where you can truly be yourself, where you are surrounded by people who appreciate your worth, who see you for who you truly are. You were never meant to be invisible. You were never meant to be underestimated. You were never meant to be the one who stays in the background, waiting for the world to give you permission to shine. The life that was always meant for you is one of unapologetic authenticity. It is a life where you are free to pursue your passions, where you can make choices that align with your values and desires without fear of judgment or rejection. For so long, you may have held back. You may have allowed the expectations of others to dictate your actions, your goals, and your dreams. You may have silenced your true self in favor of keeping the peace or trying to fit into molds that were never meant for you. But when you walked away, when you finally gave yourself the permission to be true to who you are, that's when everything started to shift. No one is going to tell your story the way you can. No one will understand the depth of your journey, the strength it took to rise from the ashes, the courage it took to walk away, when everything inside you was screaming for one last chance, one last opportunity to make things work. You know what you've been through. You know the battles you've fought, the pain you've endured, the countless times you've sacrificed your own happiness for the sake of others. And that's why the life you create moving forward will be one of uncompromising honesty. You will no longer compromise your peace for anyone. You will no longer hold yourself back for fear of not being accepted or understood, because you've realized that the only approval you need is your own. It's in these moments, when you finally let go, that you discover the incredible power of your own resilience. The life that was always meant for you is not one free from struggle. It's not one without challenges, without moments of doubt or pain. No, it is a life full of growth, of strength forged through adversity, of moments where you stand tall, even when the world around you tries to knock you down. Every obstacle you overcome, every setback you rise from, every heartbreak you heal from, only makes you stronger. These challenges are the very things that shape your character, that push you toward the version of yourself you were always destined to become. And as you move forward, you will begin to see that the people who once took you for granted, who never recognized your worth, were never meant to be a permanent part of your life. They were lessons, teachers in disguise, showing you exactly what you don't want and what you should never settle for again. They were part of your journey, yes, but they were never meant to stay. The life that was always meant for you is one where you are surrounded by those who understand your value, who lift you up, who love you without condition. The people who truly appreciate you won't be the ones who need you to fight for their attention. They won't be the ones who try to manipulate you, who take advantage of your kindness. Instead, they will be the ones who see your worth from the very beginning, who meet you halfway, who are just as committed to building a future with you as you are. In the process of reclaiming your life, you'll also discover a new sense of freedom, the freedom to choose, the freedom to make decisions without constantly second-guessing yourself, the freedom to pursue the things that bring you joy and fulfillment without fear of rejection or failure. So many times, we are paralyzed by fear, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of disappointing others, fear of not living up to expectations. But when you finally step into your own power, you realize that the only person you need to worry about disappointing is yourself. You no longer seek validation from those who never cared. Instead, you become your own biggest cheerleader, your own strongest ally. The life that was always meant for you is one that resonates with purpose. It is a life where you wake up every day feeling aligned with your goals, with your dreams, with the person you know you were always meant to be. You will no longer waste your time, your energy, or your emotions on things or people that don't serve you. You will prioritize what matters, what truly brings you peace and fulfillment. Your time becomes sacred, and you treat it as such. No more wasting it on relationships that drain you. No more pouring into situations that are never going to evolve. You will stop giving your energy to anything that doesn't reflect the value you place on yourself. And when you stand in your truth, when you embrace the life that was always meant for you, you realize that all of the challenges you've faced, all of the pain you've endured, was not in vain. It was all part of a larger design, leading you to this moment of self-discovery, self-realization, and self-love. You've become the person you needed to be all along, and in doing so, you've created a life that reflects your highest self, your deepest desires, your truest purpose. The road ahead may still be long, but it will no longer be filled with doubt, fear, or uncertainty. Because now, you know that every step you take is a step closer to the life that was always meant for you. When you let go of what was never meant to stay, you make room for what is meant to come. And that is when the magic happens. The life that was always meant for you starts to unfold in ways you never could have imagined. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach start to fall into place. Relationships that nurture and empower you begin to blossom. Your dreams, once distant and intangible, start to feel possible within your grasp. And all of this happens because you chose yourself, because you recognize that you were worthy of more than the scraps that others were giving you. And when you made the decision to walk away from everything that didn't serve you, you made the decision to create the life that was always meant for you. You are not defined by the people who couldn't see your value. You are not defined by the relationships that drained you. You are not defined by the choices of others. You are defined by your strength, your resilience, and your ability to rise above. The life that was always meant for you is one that celebrates who you truly are, a life where you walk confidently in your own shoes, knowing that you are enough, just as you are. And that, my friends, is the greatest victory of all. In conclusion, recognize the power of your own journey. Don't let others take you for granted. Understand that your time, your love, and your energy are precious commodities that should never be squandered. Know your worth and never settle for less than what you deserve. When they didn't know it was their last chance, you knew it was yours to walk away. And that's the moment that defines your future, not their regret.